I finally got it to work. I'm playing on a freaking shoe!
I built the world's first shoe PC. It's a fully Windows 11 PC inside an average 10.5 min shoe. It's my shoe. It's got a dedicated GPU and everything that you'd expect to see from a normal computer. And oh boy, was this a project to figure out. All right, so shoe of choice I want to use for this shoe PC are these Nike Court Visions.
For reference, I'm about a 10.5 min shoe, so there's no cheating here with Shaq sizes. I gotta fit it all into 10.5. This is pretty hot.
The high top is absolutely necessary for the extra space, and without it, I don't think it's even possible. Also, these are really cheap, and I don't even wear them anymore, so if I fail, I'll live. I think I'll be all right. So, with the perfect shoe picked out, I had concluded I needed the smallest form factor parts possible, and I think I found them. They weren't cheap either.
See this number? Budget approved!
So let's see what you can get for this crazy amount. Starting with the GPU. I went with the Radeon RX 6400, and this thing is tiny.
Look at that tiny GPU right there, bro. Yeah, this thing tiny. Look at this, bro.
Performance-wise, apparently this GPU is actually pretty decent for 1080p gaming, and I hope that's also true because this whole build is riding on this GPU right here.
Yeah, take this off.
And once you take off the IO shield, it is actually the perfect size to fit in the shoe.
Literally graphics card in the shoe. See, that's easy. That's the easy part.
And then the power supply was never gonna fit in the shoe, so I bought this cheap Fact Mogul. Bro, you can't be doing stuff. Yo, it's 120 watts. You know, it had good reviews. Some of them were pretty bad. Hopefully it doesn't explode. All right. I bought a Wi-Fi card. Not even gonna try to pronounce this one.
I don't know if I'm seeing stuff, but that's a little too close.
Now for the motherboard, it was a little tricky because obviously any sort of standard size would never work. So I went with the Latte Panda Mu Micro. This little microcomputer is actually super impressive. It's got M.2 slots, it's got pretty decent IO, and the CPU that shipped with this thing is the Intel N100, and I'm not even gonna lie, I don't know if it's good or bad, but it's the only option. See, the thing that sold me on this motherboard was the PCIe 4 slot, which makes the whole GPU thing possible. But there was one question begging to be answered.
Oh.
This was the riskiest part out of everything I bought because there were no dimensions online for this thing. So I was taking a huge gamble.
It's a little bigger than I thought.
See, when you place it up to the side of the shoe, it was like, yo, this is kind of a perfect fit. But once you put it in the shoe, the whole top of the motherboard stuck out the top, which defeats the whole purpose. The whole point of this build is for it to be stealthy, basically invisible from the outside. See, I did a little bit of research, all right? I went through multiple designs, and this one was supposed to be the one that worked. Motherboard and GPU are sandwiched together, 2 fans, one at the foot of the shoe, one at the top for optimal airflow, a really cool power button placed at the bottom of the shoe, and I so desperately wanted to build this thing, but it was already off to a bad start.
All right, let me go to the drawing board. There's still about 1 inch of material.
That's what I'm talking about. This shit means something to me.
Like a hot knife through butter.
Look at this. Look how much extra room is in this shoe. Look at that. Nike, my man. It's hollow on the inside.
And once I managed to get all the fabric out, I found a whole ant colony of these rubber grid things, and cutting these out with the Dremel was not an option because it started a small wildfire. So in order to save my lungs, I decided to manually cut these out.
Nice. That took so long.
Help me.
This better work. Please, man. Please, that took so long, man. My fingers are bent right now. Please, man.
But thankfully, with that little bit of extra space I had now, everything fit.
Oh my God.
I had somehow managed to get all of our major parts in the shoe while still being invisible from the outside.
Yes! Come on! Ah! Yes!
The crazy idea I had was working. Everything fit. All I had to do was order a new PCIe extension cable because the original one was way too big. And once that problem was fixed 2 days later, I now had everything I needed to start phase 2.
Look how narrow that is, bro. This a whole PC with a GPU!
I think you could tell I was excited. I had proven that this concept was actually possible, but now I had to design and 3D print a whole bunch of brackets so this thing actually worked. The first part I designed was the motherboard and GPU bracket. The only way that these fit into the shoe is when they're sandwiched together, right? And the PCIe cable routes above. Well, it works, but I needed something to house them together as one piece, one rigid piece.
Okay, don't do it to him.
Ooh! Hopefully that worked.
This was a pretty recurring theme because once again, this was my first time 3D printing. Of course, the thousands and thousands of hours I've put into Blender over on the main channel where I create game concepts absolutely carried here, but this was a totally different beast to learn, having to measure everything and then input it into a 3D software. So it took 8 versions to get to the final GPU bracket.
All right, let's see.
This one's a near perfect design. If you ask me, I'm a little biased, but it has the GPU slide into the back of the motherboard bracket. It's extremely satisfying, it's super modular, and you don't have to screw anything in. It uses screws on the back of the GPU to slide into pre-slotted slots on the motherboard, and it's just like the most satisfying thing. I'm so proud of it, honestly.
Lord have mercy, I'm about to
All of that effort and thought power into one bracket, and I still had a lot more to make. This one is really cool because it hides everything that's on the inside for that stealthy look, and it also doubles as a fan shroud for our 40mm RGB fan. Yeah! And I even made a black version because I couldn't decide, so let me know which one you guys think's better. And then it was time for the hardest thing I had designed yet. The bracket that goes on the bottom of the shoe to house a fan for the intake, but also turn the shoe PC on. You naturally tip the front, it hits a button, and the shoe PC is on.
He's cooking.
But this introduced a new problem because the power button on the motherboard was all the way over here, and I needed it to be over here. So essentially, I had to create and wire up my own button.
Hey guys, welcome to How to Wire It. If you have these little tactile buttons, and now we have the button on the bread.
You're losing me, man.
Have you ever played rugby?
And then to complete the button relocation, I had to solder it onto the existing button on the motherboard.
If I frick this up, goodbye motherboard. I did it.
I had successfully extended the existing button on the motherboard, and now it was time to see if it worked. Okay, moment of truth. I've got everything plugged up. If I press this button and it turns on, then we're cooking with magic. Here we go. Woo! Yo! Excitement was at an all-time high. I had successfully designed that sick power button.
I said I was gonna do it and I did it. It's 3:04.
And after all the headaches from this dumb little idea,
So I've stopped keeping track. Just one thing after another, bro.
I'm so close, bro.
Boom.
The build was coming to an end.
This is some good character development. Yeah.
The good ideas, the bad ideas,
Yeah. Unfortunately, LEDs have to go.
filled with a lot of highs and lows. This build legit was like a constant problem-solving exercise that had a perpetual finish line. This is all of my hard work and dedication, and all I gotta do is put it in the shoe now. But as I was putting everything in the shoe, it just felt worth it. You know, I'm not a builder, I'm not a pro, I'm just some random kid that has random ideas and wants to execute on them. And I had managed to do it. Alright, frick the whole story arc. Let's see if this whole thing is even worth it. Let's see if this thing performs. That's the biggest question. So I'd set up a 12 game tier list that this PC needed to run in order to be a success. And one of the first games I tested was Fortnite. And I'm not one to fake videos, so I'm just gonna be honest. It did not go good at all.
In 5, 4, 3, 2.
Dude, the GPU is only being utilized. Oh, it's like so stuttery. Hold on.
Oh no, this can't be.
I think that top gonna have to come off, my dude.
What do you mean by that?
I tried everything, you know, I even took the top off and added a fan because I thought maybe thermals was an issue. It wasn't thermal throttling, it was hot, but come on, it's a PC in a shoe. And in the moment, I thought this was how every single game was gonna run. Like, if I can't play Fortnite, how the frick am I gonna play Cyberpunk? So, I just said, frick it, let's try the next game. I'm visibly pretty scared here. Oh my God. Oh my God. And that solved everything.
This is actually playable!
I was actually so stoked that this was running more than playable. This was awesome.
I'm playing on a freaking shoe right now, man. 93 FPS, 118, 119. Brother.
I know GTA is an older game, but I had Fortnite on freaking mobile graphics, bro. So let me know what was wrong with that. Frick Fortnite, but let's go! So with this newfound motivation, I was excited. I went on to the next game. Valorant played flawlessly, hovering in the 150 FPS, sometimes even getting up to 200. I played with my $5 Booga mouse, which was kind of fitting. It was a really playable experience. If you can notice though, I did take off the top fan shroud, and I'll get into that later, but it's not totally because of thermals. Dude, I thought it was over with Fortnite. I thought Fortnite, we were done for. So I began to chip away at games on our tier list, and I found that it was 50-50. Some games ran flawlessly, totally playable, while other games were playable at times, but then had terrible micro stutters. I was pretty disappointed with God of War because it seemed great at first, and then just started falling apart.
No.
Let me know what your guys' opinions are, but I think the biggest thing holding us back is the CPU bottleneck. Because most of these games have the CPU pinged at 100 and the GPU is just chilling. So if I were to do this again, I think I would try to figure out how to improve the CPU performance. And if I'm making a version 2, subscribe by the way if you want version 2, I think I would figure out how to have better access to the IO because my design kind of makes no sense. If you want to plug stuff in, you got to take the top off. And then also, I would definitely get a better power supply because this thing was starting to scare me just a little bit. And the Shoe PC is only pulling around 70 watts full load, which isn't that close to the 120 watts that this thing claims, but it's also $17. So the last game on the tier list, and the one that everyone wants to know the answer to. Can a Shoe PC run Cyberpunk? I'm actually at a loss for words right now. How the frick can I play this? Bro, this is running better than Fortnite. What the frick? Whoa, it's a little laggy there. All right, 900p. It's honestly the same FPS. I went to 900p and I'm still getting 40 FPS. So it seems like a CPU issue. CPU's at 100. I actually have no idea what I'm talking about, so feel free to educate me in the comments. But I ran a benchmark and this basically sums up the whole Shoe PC. Take me back to when I was 15 and down bad, brother, I would play this. This is what the frick? It might not have been worth it, but at least I can say I was the first person to build a PC in a shoe.
Roblox.